In fact, even their sheikhs are crazy people. Like here, this is Yassir Qadhi. Supposedly is a person who is educated. He have I think, a PhD. And look, the same person, he go against the same person. Changing your words and your belief, yet you claim to be a believer in the same issue, is a clear sign of a struggle within the brain of the man who we will hear. So, shall we believe in Gog and Magog, who they are great in numbers, or we should not? Listen carefully.
So if somebody were to say, how can we believe these ahadith when Google Earth has mapped the whole world? We can zoom in and see everything around us, and there is no massive land hidden from mankind. The response is, Wallahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allahu a'lam. If we believe in the ahadith, this is what the ahadith tell us.
See?
This is what the ahadith tell us. And there's a simple rule that Ibn Taymiyyah mentions. Memorize this rule.
Memorize.
The Quran and Sunnah does not bring the impossible, but it does bring that which astounds the mind. Is it impossible that somewhere underground Allah has thousands of people living? It's not impossible. It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Is it impossible? Is it impossible that there is a nation by trillions and they are living under the ground? And here you see the stupidity, you know. What underground? Your Quran says behind the dam. Your Quran never says underground. So because they could not see them, you see how they try to find a solution? It's a clear sign of a struggle of mental illness. So the Quran says, Zulqarnain, which is Alexander the Great, he built a dam between us and those creatures, who they are massive in number. 1 to 1,000, which means every human being, there's a 1,000 of them. So if we are 7 billions, there are 7 trillions. When we put them behind, correct me about the number if the number is wrong. When we put them behind the dam, how he is saying in the video that those are under the ground, behind the dam, not under the ground. So what we understand now, that the Muhammadan tried to find a solution for the mental illness of their prophet. He made a big poo-poo. He's stupid. He's mental. He copies stories. Nobody can believe them. Nobody can understand them. Nobody can, believe in them for a second. I mean, this is not even good for cartoon. This is good for Sinbad, Alibaba, the flying carpet. They have a flying carpet in the Quran. According to the Muslims, Sulaiman have a flying carpet. So Muhammad, because of his mental illness, and we will go over that, you will see how this guy, the same guy, he says this is impossible.
Ibn Taymiyyah mentions, memorize this rule. The Quran and Sunnah does not bring the impossible, but it does bring that which astounds the mind. Is it impossible that somewhere underground Allah has thousands of people living? It's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's not surprising that our medieval scholars believe this type of stuff. Now, obviously, dare I say, anybody who knows science and geography and modern civilization, you cannot believe that there is a tribe for 4,000 years trapped behind a wall. I mean, if you believe this, that's your...
If you believe this, Yani, you are stupid. Sorry. If you believe this, Yani, you are donkey. If you believe this, Yani, you are a mental. Did you hear it? But aren't you the one who just said in the previous video, it's not impossible? Which one? Maybe Gog and Magog are Hamas. They are under the ground. And by the way, you see here he said behind the wall. He changed his words. Before he said under the ground because they were looking for them, and he mentioned that Google, Google map, they have a map for every inch in this earth, which means even if you build a bathroom in the desert, it's going to show up in Google map. We cannot find those Gog and Magog. And now he's saying, responding to himself, opposing himself, that it is impossible to believe in such a stupid story. What does that mean? What that will lead us, that Muhammad is a person suffering from mental illness. He copies stories. This is why the Quran chapter 9 verse number 61 says, the Arab, they called Muhammad, he was an ear. He is an ear. Why? Because he kept copying whatever he hear. He hear a story, he make a movie of it. He added to his book. So he heard some legend about Gog and Magog, he added them to the Quran. A person from Syria, he wrote a book about Zulqarnain. Zulqarnain is a real person. He's not a fiction person, but the story, all of it is fiction. He found where the sun set. He found it sitting in hot, boiling spring. He found where the sun rise. He found next to it people. The people, they said, built for us a dam between us and Gog and Magog. So the story, all of it is just a fiction, and Muhammad, he take it because he have a low IQ. A person with high IQ will never take such a story.
Allahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allahu a'lam. If we believe in the ahadith, this is what the ahadith tell us. This is what the ahadith tell us. And there's a simple rule that Ibn Taymiyyah mentions. Memorize this rule. The Quran and Sunnah does not bring the impossible, but it does bring that which astounds the mind. Is it impossible that somewhere underground Allah has thousands of people living? It's not impossible. It's not impossible.
It's not.
It's not surprising that our medieval scholars believe this type of stuff. Now, obviously, dare I say, anybody who knows science and geography and modern civilization, you cannot believe that there is a tribe for 4,000 years trapped behind a wall. I mean, if you believe this, that's your position. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. I'm just being, I find this very difficult to believe. Is it impossible that somewhere underground Allah has thousands of people living? It's not impossible. It's not impossible. They're in some place separated from mankind.
So there's a place that's separated from mankind. Suddenly now we are living in different galaxy. But isn't it your stupid Quran says that those are, or this location exist in the earth, and it's very easy accessible to the point Zulqarnain, he found it? Why? Well, like Zulqarnain, he was using a spaceship. He was flying. All what we see in front of us is a sign of mental illness. Low IQ. Adopting stupid stories is a clear sign of mental illness.